Here we are again, obviously a little while later, but skipped a couple stages. Wanted to show what stage we're at now as far as the base. Decided to make an opening in the center of it for wood, and then a little shelf here for putting, I don't know, spices or oven mitts, whatever. And now the tabletop's going to go on the top. But what I wanted to show is, before I fill this in completely, according to YouTube University, and one of the sites there, actually a few sites, they use bottles as an insulator so that the heat doesn't transfer from the top, from the oven, down into the base if the base is made out of block or brick. So I've used wine bottles here. I'm just filling in around them with soil, and we'll put in another layer, fill it in again with soil, and then a cement layer on top, which will form the table or the base for the actual oven. So that's where we're at right now. And I don't know about the cement work. I'm an amateur, but it was kind of fun trying. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully we'll be filming this soon with a tabletop on it. Up north they build snowmen.
Lonnie's Adobe oven. A fine foundation, room for the firewood. Packing the sand to form the interior of the oven.
16 inches high. 22.5 inches in diameter. So here we are with the project at this stage. We have the base built, supported at the back, and the section behind the brick is where the bottles, the insulation layer is, and then the cement on top with the bricks forming the entranceway. And behind it is the pile of sand that I just put on, which is the mold basically for the interior of the oven. The Adobe sits on top of that and then dries. So little by little it's coming together. We'll have to build a throat between the entranceway into the oven, but that will be done with the mud. There'll be a 4-inch thermal layer of clay, mud, and then after that cob, an insulation layer of cob, which is Adobe mixed with straw, to make an 8-inch layer around the oven to make it insulated, well insulated, to hold the heat.
Mixing Adobe, putting in the bricks on the arch.
Mixing mud, just like I did for my mud pies when I was little.
Lonnie has been studying this art since she was 4 years old.
Actually, it's really a case of going back to my childhood. I'm at that age.
Abby and I are just staying out of the way. Right, Abby?
Well, we've removed the brace for the entranceway, for the brick arch, and we're ready for the next phase. We have some mud mixed. Actually, I'm just about ready to mix some more. And we're putting on what is called the thermal layer, which is a 3-inch layer all the way around. Doing it on top of newspaper. So on top of the sand is newspaper, and then the mud. The idea being that when we dig out the sand, when we get to the newspaper, we know that we've reached the mud layer. Don't want to dig any further because it's pretty hard to get your body in there, this little opening, to see what's going on. Well, I'm just watering that down a little bit so that the cob sticks to it. This is the cob. It's clay, sand, and straw. That's beautiful straw, by the way. It's perfect. So the idea is you saturate your straw with mud, but you want as much straw in it as you can, because obviously the more straw, the better the insulation. And then the idea is you just pack it around. This is your thermal layer. It's just clay with sand, no straw in it. It's thermal, this is insulation. And so you want a 4-inch layer of insulation on top of your thermal layer. Abby has to put her 2 cents worth in here. It's like making mud pies. This is the insulation layer, and then there's plaster, a couple of layers of plaster that go on top. Well, just making progress on it. Looks like a big nest. Building a big nest. The idea is to get as much straw in the mud as you can, because it's more insulation. And it's hard to mix. It's a good workout. But it's fun.
We have a school down the road that plays music between classes instead of bells. Quite pleasant, actually.
Yeah, nice background music. Music to mix mud by. Later on to be music to cook by, hopefully, and bake. Good pincushion. Just taking out the form, the sand form from inside the oven. It's dry now, and I know how far to dig in because there's newspaper. There was newspaper put over the sand form before the mud was put on, and the newspaper is dry already, so that means that the thermal layer is dry. The first plaster coat is just clay and water, and it covers up, if you see the other side, covers up the straw layer, the insulation layer. So when this dries, I'll put one more plaster coat, just a real thin one, on that has a mixture of fermented cactus juice in it, which helps with the waterproofing. Otherwise, we'd have to put either cover this or put a roof over it, some sort of a shelter from the rain. So, getting there. Cassie, Cassie. So we're just putting a scratch coat on the plaster, the first plaster job, so that the second plaster job will stick to it. So you just want to score it, and then the next plaster coat will go on, and it'll be half an inch thick or so, and Bob's your uncle. We'll be done.